Attention all staff. A fire alarm has been activated within the hotel. Staff are currently investigating. Please remain in your rooms. Thank you.
So I uploaded my first video on Monday morning. It's now Friday afternoon, and so if you haven't watched that and you want to see sort of the story so far, then I suggest you go back and watch that, and I'll put a link up here somewhere to go and watch that. Thanks to everybody who commented on that video. There was some really nice kind thoughts and messages from everybody there. I really appreciate that, and that's certainly gone a long way towards helping me sort of get through this. And there was a few questions, a handful of questions there about hotel quarantine, and you know, people want to know a bit more about it, which was kind of really what I was trying to achieve there. I wanted to sort of give you guys a bit of an insight into what it's like to live in a hotel room for 2 weeks non-stop. But anyway, I'll get to that at the end, because before I do that, I wanted to basically just run through some of the things I've been up to in the last 5 days since I made the last video, and yeah, just do a bit of a recap of what's happened so far this week. So one thing I've been doing quite a bit of is actually walking, just doing laps up and down the room, and it's a luxurious hotel room, and it's pretty cozy, but still just not being able to go outside just gives you this sort of confinement. So walking backwards and forwards, I've been aiming to do 5,000 steps a day, and yeah, it actually helps. It sort of takes the edge off. It gives you some sense of movement, and like you're actually, you know, burning off some energy. And that's actually one of the issues that I've had is actually sleeping. And it seems to be getting progressively worse because I'm really not out and about doing much. I'm just not getting tired, you know, like, and so 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, I might get a bit dozy. I'll be watching a video or something, and I'll fall asleep, and I might sleep for an hour, and then I'll wake up again, and I'm like, well, I'm awake now, and then I'm awake for a couple more hours, and then I'll nod off for a few hours. So I'm sort of only getting maybe 4 or 5 hours per night, which is no big deal. It's not like I've got to get up in the morning and go to important meetings or anything like that, but you know, I mean, it's just, I'd like to get a good 6 hours a night if I can, but I guess that'll all just sort itself out when I get out of here. I had a surprise COVID test today. They told me there was going to be one on day 5 and one on day 13, but apparently there's a day 9 test as well, and they asked me if there's any symptoms, and it's like, no symptoms. Like, they almost seem a little bit disappointed, but no, so far so good, no symptoms, and all the tests have come back negative, so I'm pretty confident I don't have the virus, but you know, apparently it could still flare up any time from here onwards, so we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. I've been doing a lot of eating, and there's no getting around that. There's 3 meals a day, and I normally only would eat 2 meals a day anyway, but you've kind of got nothing else to do, so it's like, all right, what have we got? And you have a look, and if there's something appetizing there, you eat it. So, you know, steak on last weekend. Wow, it's actually a steak. Look at that. It's a little bit pink in the middle. Not too bad. It tastes better than it looks. So we've got a custard slice, custard tart, I should say. Some sort of gigantic sushi roll kind of thing. Put some chicken wings and some sort of spicy sauce, I'm hoping there. Bag of mixed lollies. Yeah, okay. Some sort of weird sort of fruit thing here, like little dinky fruit thing. They've actually peeled the mandarin already. So that's something different. Slow cooked lamb shanks and some nice potato salad with bacon in it, looks like, and chocolate mousse. Actually, one of the best meals I've had was lunch I had today, which was a beautiful piece of steak and some sweet potatoes. It was honestly really good. If you went to a restaurant and ordered that, you'd have been happy with it. So yeah, it's you know, there's been a couple that I've just literally been looking at it thinking, I actually don't even know what that is, because it's just not something I've ever seen before. And I've had a taste. I thought, yeah, maybe not. But the steak today was fantastic. So guys, hotel guys, if you're downstairs, if you're watching this video, I'll have a steak for lunch every day for the rest of the time here. I'll be very happy. Thanks guys. I've also had the GoPro out, and it's been a good chance to practice on the time lapses. Just set it up in the window here, and you know, just time lapsing the weather and the sun moving up and down buildings and stuff like that. Not rocket science. I'm literally just put it on time lapse and point in the right direction and see what we get. But yeah, it's been a good chance for me to sort of really try it out. Not a feature I've really ever used before on the GoPro, and it's surprisingly good. The results are coming in pretty good, and so that's been a bit of fun, a bit of a distraction. So another good news, on Monday morning, the borders really started opening up. The flights started arriving in from overseas. I think it was one from LA and potentially one from London, I think. And also state borders are opening up as well. Just today I heard the Victoria-New South Wales border is now completely open. No testing, no nothing. So that's good. The SA border hasn't opened yet, and Queensland's still closed and WA still closed, but at least we're heading in the right direction. The whole border issues kind of kept us stuck in Victoria for most of the last 18 months, and it's really great to see that we're actually finally look like we're going to get past this whole border thing and actually start to be able to travel around the country again. We actually had a fire alarm in the hotel the other night. So I'm sitting there having my dinner and I could hear some sirens, and I'm not even taking any notice of them somewhere on the street. The speaker in here just activated, the PA, and the guys come on sounding quite breathless, saying, attention all guests, please stay in your rooms. Fire alarm has been activated and we're currently investigating. Which would have to be the worst case scenario for them, because they can't just ask everybody to leave because we're all in quarantine. And I'm on the 13th floor, so I'm 13 levels down. What else would I need here? My laptop.
Attention all staff. A fire alarm has been activated within the hotel. Staff are currently investigating. Please remain in your rooms. Thank you.
Scary stuff. So I'm going to shut my laptop up here, because that I'll definitely want to take if I'm doing a runner out of here. My watch, my torch. I always keep a torch by the bed when I'm in a hotel in case I wake up in the middle of the night and it's power's off and it's all hell's breaking loose. I can at least find my way out. My hard drives, they would be pretty important. So I want those. Hopefully it's nothing. It's probably just a false alarm. These things usually are. But if not, it's good to be prepared.
Attention all guests. We are currently investigating the cause of the alarm. Please do not evacuate. Please wait for further announcements.
Not much else to do at this point.
Attention all guests. Please do not evacuate. Stay in your rooms. The fire department are currently investigating.
Okay. Can't see any smoke. Can't smell any smoke. I'm sure it's a false alarm, but you never know. These things happen sometimes. I'll take my big lapis guidebook, save me having to print out another one. One of the projects I've been working on while I'm here is updating it for a new edition. So that's the floor plan there. Stairwell out there. So we had the door.
Attention all staff. The fire department have investigated the source of the fire alarm. There is no need to take any further action. It has been declared a false alarm. Sorry for any inconvenience.
You beauty. That's what we were hoping for. So yeah, we can carry on eating dinner. So yeah, as you can see, it was a false alarm, which I was pretty confident it would be, but you never know. And when you're virtually at the top of the building, you sort of, if it is a real fire, you want to get out of here pretty quickly. So I was ready to run. And Tuesday was Melbourne Cup day, so we made the most of that. When I say we, I mean me here and Jen and the girls back in Melbourne. Well, good morning, guys. It is day 6th here at Hotel Quarantine Central at the Pullman Hotel. It's actually Melbourne Cup Day today, and that's great, but it's also Jen and my's 30th anniversary of our first date, and it was 30 years ago that we first went out together, and we had 3/8 of bugger all money to put together. I think we had about literally $30 between us, and we went on this date, and you know, we'd only known each other for a couple of months, but the chemistry was obviously there, and this was kind of our excuse and to get out and do something together. And we're in Melbourne, so we thought, let's go to the Melbourne Cup. So to celebrate that, we're going to watch the Melbourne Cup race together this afternoon, and she's going to dial in with FaceTime or something like that, and we're going to watch it together and put a couple of bets on. Right, the race starts in 40 minutes, and Jen sent me through the horses that her and the girls want to bet on. This is like the one race a year that we'll pretty much put a bet on, and so she's got Savannah number 13, Sarah number 4, Sienna 3, Jen 9 and 2. So I'm going to just put an each way bet on each of those using the app. Alright, now I'm going to pick 3 horses, because why not? And I don't have much of a system here. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but one of the most popular names for jockeys is Damien. And there are 3 Damiens here, all in a row. 6, 7 and 8. The Chosen One, Delphi and Ocean Billy. Damien Lane, Damien Oliver and Damien Thornton. That just leaps out at me as being a pattern. And that's what I'm going to go with. So I'm going to put an each way bet on each of those. Alright, going in. It's about to start.
I love the black horses.
It's a good day for it.
It's beautiful. Sitting outside before, geez, warm.
Yeah, it's about 30 here, I think, but not that I can tell the difference. Here we go.
Signal from behind, and they're racing in the Lexus Melbourne Cup. Honda's over on the far side.
Now, if your horse is in front now, it's all over for it.
As they're looking to cross over, Trelleros is also up there with Knight's Order floating up.
Well, none of our horses are in the first 4 yet. That's a good start.
Heels at that stage. Delphi on the fence. Spanish Mission deeper.
Incentivize is already in the top 4.
Strolls out a length and a quarter, and Incentivize has got over from that wide alley and sits second. The favourite.
Oh, look, Jockey Cam. I haven't seen that one before.
It's well and truly off the rails. Further back, the Chosen. Closer is Spanish Mission, and also very elegant.
Oh, Sarah, I've seen that. Spanish Mission.
It's now taking the lead.
Mine's coming first. There's 3. There's only 3 weeks to go. Shit, okay, so I can get 3
Oh, look, you're going well. Very early, it's coming up.
Number 4. Oh my god, I'm in front.
Very Elegant's going to do it. Yes, well done. Sarah, you won.
Very elegant.
Incentivize came second.
Incentivize second, third, Spanish Mission. That's so exciting.
Well done. 4, 2, 3.
Let's do it again.
Are you hooked now?
Also, how much money do I get?
Well, it's about $120.
Sarah.
Yeah, well, that was very, very elegant, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, I just wanted to include this piece, which I recorded Wednesday morning when I woke up to some fantastic news. Yeah, little Cleo Smith found alive after nearly 3 weeks. Just incredible. I think it's fair to say most people had pretty much presumed that wouldn't be the outcome, and it was really a case of, you know, will we ever know what happened to her? You know, you sort of worry that, you know, it'll become another one of those missing forever kind of cases. But to be found alive and apparently okay, I mean, you know, just an unimaginable traumatic experience for a 4-year-old to go through. When we did our big lap, our eldest daughter was 4 years old at the time. She had her fifth birthday on the trip, actually not far from Carnarvon, as it turns out. Yeah, I mean, I've thought many times since Cleo disappeared about how, you know, we pretty much, you know, we spent 500 days living in a camper trailer, travelling around Australia, and not once in that whole time did I think that one of our kids might be abducted from the from our camp. It just never occurred to me, you know. It's not that we were blasé or reckless. It just didn't cross my mind, you know. We zipped our camper trailer tent door. We would zip it to the top. We just did that mainly so, you know, the girls didn't get up and wander off in the night, you know. But you know, it's a zip. It wasn't going to keep anybody out. It was just meant to basically stop them from randomly, you know, sleepwalking and getting up and going out. But I've thought many times the last few weeks, wow, were we not being careful enough? The thought that this could happen is just sad. But yeah, I feel like the rest of Australia does right now, just so relieved. All right, well, let's get to the questions that people left on the comments on my last video. And before I do, I'm thinking I'm going to do another video in 2 or 3 days' time, and I want to basically answer a bunch of big lap road trip questions. If you look back on my channel, you'll see that I've got about 7 or 8 videos where I answer specific questions about doing the big lap, and each one's sort of dedicated to one question. But I thought what I'll do is I'll do a sort of a batch. So send me your questions through if you've got any questions about planning a big lap trip, or, you know, places to go or things to do or whatever, anything big lap road trip related. Just hit me up in the comments below, and yeah, I'll get them all together and I'll just sit there and answer them all in one go. With that said, these are some of the questions that I got on the last video. Who's paying for the hotel, and if yourself, how much is this costing you? Well, the government's paying for the hotel. It's if you do have to pay for it, it's $3,000 for the first adult, $1,000 for any adult after that, and then $500 for any child. As far as I know, the only people that have to pay are international travellers and FIFO workers. So people have to come into the state, quarantine, and then go to work. You know, probably in the mines or that sort of thing. That's as far as I know. But because I'm here sort of on compassionate grounds, as far as I know, I won't have to pay for it. No one suggested at any point that we will have to pay. To be honest, if we did have to pay, I'd still be here. But at this stage, I don't expect that that's the case. If people are double vaccinated, can that reduce the quarantine time or being able to quarantine at home now? Yeah, pretty much that's the case. If from 23rd of November, the rules will change that you'll be able to come into South Australia if you're double vaccinated, and you won't have to quarantine at all. And if you're not vaccinated, I think then you will have to quarantine. But if you are double vaxxed, then no hotel quarantine. As it is now today, regardless of whether I'm vaccinated or not, I'd still be having to go to the hotel quarantine because I came from Melbourne, which is like a hot spot where, you know, 1,000, 1,500 cases a day. Were you able to get your daughter back from the UK, and did she have to endure the same thing? That's interesting, because what you're referring to there is early last year, our eldest daughter Savannah, who had been living in the UK for best part of 2 years at that stage, she went there and finished her sort of last year and a half of school, and then had finished school and was actually had found herself a job when the whole pandemic thing broke out around sort of mid-March. It was actually the day that the Grand Prix got cancelled. was just like the turning point where it's like, holy shit, this is getting pretty real. We got on the phone to her because she was living by herself in a small apartment over there, and we just jumped on the phone and said, do you want to come home? We don't know where this is going to go. It's going to get pretty crazy. Because if you do want to come home, you better get home fast, because it's probably going to get harder. We're hearing rumours about closing the country border and stopping international flights and this sort of stuff. And she said, yeah, I will. And so she did. She jumped on a plane, got a flight and jumped on a plane and was home like 5 days later, which is beautiful timing, because the week after that is when they shut the borders to the country, and it just, it got harder and harder and harder to get in, and crazy expensive. So, so she did get back, and she's still here, and but she's very much looking forward to getting back and spending some time there with all of her friends that she's missed over, really last 18 months that she's been back here. What do you do during the day to keep your mental health strong? Well, assuming that my mental health is strong, and you can be the judge of that, what I'm doing is I'm keeping to a bit of a routine. I'm not laying in bed all day. I get up at sort of 7:30 in the morning, and I have a shower and make a coffee and sort of do normal things that you would normally do. And I make the bed even though no one's going to see it. So there's that sense of purpose, getting up and doing something. As I said before, I'm walking a bit. It's just back and forwards up and down the room, but it's better than not doing it. I'm doing stretching and push-ups and things like that, just to kind of burn up a bit of energy. I'm talking to a lot of people. I've been on the phone to a lot of friends and family, some pretty long chats. Literally an hour on the phone while walking backwards and forwards up and down the room. So I don't feel like I'm here by myself. There's lots of people sort of calling and emailing and texting and checking in, and I'm making these videos, which was kind of something to keep me busy, something to give me something to do. So I wasn't just sitting around watching Netflix all day, which it'd be nice. Everyone dreams about being able to sit around and binge watch telly for days on end, but the reality is after a day or two of that, you're going to start climbing the walls. You've got to feel like you're actually doing something. So having a bit of a purpose and keeping busy doing stuff is really the secret, I think. And the only real issue is that I'm just not burning up enough actual energy compared to how much I'm putting in with all the extra food and all the extra carbs and stuff. So I'm just I'm having trouble sleeping, but mentally so far no big issues. Now this one wasn't a question, but a very interesting comment. This is from Kevin Branch. He said, "Thanks, Steve. It's mind-boggling, mate. I know very well, as I've carried out 8 quarantines now. 8. The first few days are fine, then the rot sets in. The TV becomes your best friend. The good news is it feels like Christmas the day you get out." Yeah, well, it feels like it probably will be Christmas by the time I get out. And someone else said, so anyway, I won't go to the next one yet. So Kevin, that's unbelievable. 8 quarantines. I have to think it's probably you're a FIFO worker or something, and you just have to quarantine to get into the state. But yeah, amazing. Doing it once is an experience. Doing it 8 times is work. So if you're keen to comment more on your experience doing 8 of them, and I'd love to hear more about it, and I can talk about it in the next video. And the last question was, what about a toasted sandwich maker or similar that you can make a few things and basically do some cooking in the room? They made it pretty clear in the information they gave us when we got here that you can't do any cooking in the room, and presumably it's a fire hazard, and it's kind of understandable. So yeah, it's basically what you can do with a kettle and a fridge and basic simple things like that. But no, there's no cooking or preparing your own food. And one final question: what's the news on international travellers into Australia? Well, as I said before, the borders into Australia are now open. They're not open for every state though. New South Wales, it definitely is. I think Victoria is. I think Queensland is not going to be until early in the new year.
Breaking news, a cleaner rolled through before. So that was nice to have some company this morning, because we're not going to see those scenes that you're seeing in Sydney here in Brisbane until next year. 90%, that is the threshold that the government has set for quarantine-free overseas arrivals.
And you can check the other states, but essentially the international border is open. It's just a case of which state you fly into. So if you're going to fly into Sydney, then it's no problem. As long as you're double vaccinated, you can do that. But if you're looking to fly into another state, then check that specifically. All right, guys, that's it for this video. And as I said, leave me your Big Lap questions. Ask me anything about doing the Big Lap, planning a trip, where to go, what to do, anything like that, and I'll do the best to answer them. And if you can do that over the weekend, and I'll probably spend sort of Sunday afternoon recording that video and try and get out Sunday night or Monday morning, something like that. Thanks for tuning in, and yeah, I'll talk to you in the next video.